The shocking second season of 1923 has ended, but is it really over? The epic second season of 1923 concludes another turbulent chapter in the ever-expanding Yellowstone universe after years of betrayal, survival, and bloodshed across 3 continents. But before fans can let out a sigh of relief, there is one big question: is this really the end, or is it just the calm before the next storm? The finale doesn't just wrap up storylines, it whispers of what's to come. Hidden in plain sight, subtle clues and lingering shots hint at new beginnings, unresolved vengeance, and a future still shrouded in mystery. If you thought the Duttons' fight for legacy was over, think again. The war may have paused, but it's far from won. Over the course of this gripping saga, we've witnessed characters who have been shaped by unimaginable hardship. They've risen from the depths of personal and collective tragedy, only to be knocked down again by cruel fate. Time and time again, they fought to survive in a world that seems determined to destroy them. From the devastated battlefields of Europe, where the scars of war run deep, to the unforgiving and often brutal frontiers of Montana, the Dutton family has endured trials that would break most people. Their legacy has been stretched to its limits, tested by betrayals, loss, and the weight of their own ambitions. Now, as we stand at the precipice of the season finale, the Dutton family is in more disarray than ever. The bonds that once held them together have become fragile, torn apart by both external forces and internal strife. Yet, paradoxically, this very fragmentation has made them more dangerous. In this world where power is everything, survival means more than just outlasting the next threat. It's about holding on to what little remains of their empire and legacy. As the story builds toward its climax, the stakes are higher than ever. The central question is no longer just what the next chapter holds, but who among them will make it out alive. With enemies closing in from all sides and betrayal lurking around every corner, the Duttons face a battle that will determine not only their fate, but also the future of everything they've fought to protect. Now let's dive deep into the finale. It's time to piece together the intricate puzzle of this story, analyzing the motivations, the twists, and the choices that have led to this pivotal moment. What lies ahead for the Duttons? What's next for their adversaries? And how will this dark, unforgiving world of 1923 continue to shape their destinies in ways we can't yet predict? Let's explore the future and the fragile threads that hold it all together. At the very end of the season, a few important developments took place. When I say a few, I actually mean a lot, because in just a couple of hours, we covered basically every single storyline in the most rushed way possible. Yes, it was emotional. Yes, I cried for what felt like forever. And yes, technically, all our predictions came true. But let's be honest, this doesn't necessarily mean the episode was good or had a satisfying ending. First of all, I have a major question. Did we really need Spencer in Montana to save the ranch? We waited for him to reach Montana for what felt like forever, and now I can't help but question why. I mean, let's be real, his big contribution was killing a few men and shooting Donald in the head. Those men could have easily been taken out by hiring a few more ranch hands. And Jacob could have been the one to kill Donald if he just knew all it took was storming into his home and shooting him. Apparently, there are no consequences for that kind of action in this universe, and we're all just supposed to be fine with it? I don't know about you, but that didn't sit right with me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not mad about how things ended. I always wanted Spencer to be the one to kill Donald and save the ranch. But the journey to that end should have been more complicated, more challenging, more worth the wait. Let me know what you thought. The most important takeaway, though, is that Spencer is alive and well ready to carry another season or possibly star in a brand new prequel series. Unfortunately, his journey is likely to be a lonely one. If I asked you what you disliked most about the finale, I bet more than half of you would say Alexandra's death. After watching her suffer for an entire season, I think we can all agree she deserved a much better ending. I can't believe she went through all of that only to give up on life in the end. My jaw is still on the floor, my eyes dried from crying, and my mind refuses to accept such a tragic ending for her of all people. It is abundantly clear that Taylor Sheridan believed that everything in the past had to come to a tragic end. At this point, he seems allergic to happy endings and seems to believe there was no happiness in history. You are free to disagree with me, but the show ought to have ended with Alexandra and Spencer living together on the Montana ranch and raising future Dutton generations. That would have been a far better and, dare I say, epic ending. I will die on that hill. Right now, it just doesn't feel like an ending. It seems like a story that isn't complete and hurt both Spencer and Alexandra. And now we have to wait for a third season or a prequel to finish the story, which is getting really tiring. Plus, now there's a baby. Kara is about 80 years old, and it is anticipated that she will raise a child who is born prematurely. Not only does it make no sense for a baby born after just 6 months to survive back then, but also it's wild to expect an elderly woman who deserves retirement to take on that responsibility. I had to turn off my brain just to enjoy that whole sequence. The only upside is that we'll get to watch this baby grow in an upcoming Yellowstone installment. That means we'll get to see Spencer as a father, and yes, despite everything, that still excites me. Thanks to the final episode, we know Spencer lives until 1969 and dies at Alexandra's grave. He also has a relationship with a widowed woman, with whom he has a second child but never marries. That little bit of information was a lot to process now, and to be honest, it initially felt unnecessary. Like, why even mention that she was a widow? Why bring up Spencer's refusal to wed her, as if we are supposed to applaud him for being loyal to Alexandra while also having a child with another woman and getting involved with another woman? If he couldn't move on, maybe he shouldn't have gotten involved at all, right? However, I believe a chapter is missing from this section. And it seems like a deliberate choice on Sheridan's part. He knew Spencer's actions would be questioned by us. He knew we'd be upset, and he plans to explore that story in the upcoming show 1944, which is basically going to serve as a continuation of this series. A lot of fans think Spencer's child might be connected to Jamie in Yellowstone, especially since Gareth once told Jamie the ranch was his birthright. So don't be surprised if there's an entire series focused on how Jamie is related to the Duttons, but not in a legitimate way. Prepare for the conflict between legitimate and illegitimate sons. I'll be making a full video to explain the entire Dutton family tree very soon, so stay tuned for that. Let's now discuss Elizabeth and Jack. After Spencer and Alexandra, they're the second couple on my list that were treated horribly by Sheridan. Honestly, they should sue him for this level of mistreatment. Not only was the Dutton family quick to dismiss Jack's death, but Elizabeth was treated so unfairly that I literally yelled at my screen. I know that some of you don't like Elizabeth, but let's be fair. This woman did everything she could to live. For the ranch, she even killed someone. What more could she possibly do? Even at the conclusion, Kara did not even give her a hug. Instead, she basically dismissed all of Elizabeth's efforts and acted like she was betraying the family. Although you could argue that she was granting Elizabeth permission to continue her life after Jack, her tone was so cold and heartless that I truly felt sorry for Elizabeth. Kara essentially implied that Elizabeth would forget Jack and the ranch in no time, as if none of this ever happened. She ignored the physical and emotional scars Elizabeth carries: the vaccines, the wolf attack, her love for Jack. She treated Elizabeth like a silly little girl, when in reality, Elizabeth became a woman on that ranch, facing horrors most people couldn't even imagine. After that, Elsa's voice informs Spencer that he has never forgotten Alexandra. So, Spencer can mourn forever, but Elizabeth can't? Make it make sense. And the most serious crime of all? Kara completely ignored the fact that Elizabeth is pregnant. She did not state that the child of Jack is welcome at the ranch. She didn't acknowledge that the baby is part of the Dutton legacy. It's hard to believe the Duttons would let go of a child that carries their blood so easily. The only explanation? Sheridan plans to tie that storyline into the upcoming series The Madison. We know that The Madison will focus on a family from New York with no known Dutton connection until they're forced to move to Montana for financial reasons and inheritance drama. That family will likely be the grandchildren of Elizabeth and Jack. They won't know they're Duttons until they return home. Even though I kind of like that concept, I'm still furious about how Elizabeth was treated. Let me know what you think about her story in the comments. Anyway, according to Variety, 1923 is officially over. So, no third season in the traditional sense, but the journey will continue with 1944, and it's clear that Spencer will be one of the main characters. Brandon Sklenar has even said he's interested in returning for it, which means not only is Spencer back, but he'll likely be portrayed by the same actor, which is very exciting. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the ride, make sure to subscribe to NEXTDOOR for more updates, theories, and in-depth content every single week. We've only just scratched the surface. There's a lot more to uncover, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Join the conversation in the comments, share your theories, and let's dive deeper into this world together. Your thoughts fuel the discussion and help shape what we explore next. Until then, stay curious, stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next one right here on NEXTDOOR.